Welcome to English Story Cafe. Today, we will explore how to rebuild yourself from zero. It's a powerful idea, isn't it? Rebuilding yourself. It sounds epic, like a cinematic journey of transformation. But for many of us, especially those of us tackling the monumental task of learning a new language, a language like English, it feels less like a movie and more like staring up at a vast, unconquerable mountain. I'm talking about that feeling. You know the one. You've studied the grammar books, you've memorized the vocabulary lists, you've spent hours listening to podcasts and watching films, maybe even feeling a surge of confidence. And then you step into a real conversation, or you try to write a professional email, and that confidence crumbles. Suddenly, you feel like you're back at square one, standing in a pile of forgotten irregular verbs and confusing prepositions. You feel like you need to rebuild your English self entirely from the foundations up. The good news is, you don't actually have to demolish everything and start over. What you really need is a shift in perspective and a more intentional way of building. Learning English from zero, or even rebuilding your English from what feels like zero, is less about adding bricks and more about changing the architecture of your mind. Think about it. When a child learns their first language, they don't start with a grammar textbook. They start with immersion and necessity. They need to communicate, to ask for food, to express joy or frustration. Their entire world is the language, and their drive is survival and connection. As adult learners, we can and should replicate this environment of necessity, even if we're sitting alone in our living room. This is the first, most crucial step in our rebuilding project, creating a deep, compelling why. Why do you need English? Is it for a career change? Is it to connect with a loved one? Is it to travel the world, or simply to understand your favorite books and movies without relying on translation? Your why is the blueprint of your new English self. Write it down. Make it real. It is the fuel that gets you through the frustration. Once the blueprint is clear, we need to focus on the strongest foundational material, listening and input. Before you can speak fluently, you must be able to understand fluently. The mistake many learners make is trying to force output, speaking, before their input reservoir is full. Think of your mind as a sophisticated computer. The more high-quality data you feed it, the more effective and natural the output will be. This is where the concept of massive, enjoyable input comes in. Don't just listen to things because they're labeled English lessons. Find English content that you genuinely love. Are you passionate about history? Listen to history podcasts. Do you love cooking? Watch cooking shows. The key is to find content that is slightly above your current level, not so difficult that it causes stress, but just challenging enough to introduce new structures and vocabulary. This process of enjoyable input is what linguists call comprehensible input. It's the constant, gentle flow of language that your brain is naturally wired to absorb. It bypasses the frustrating, rigid rules of formal grammar study and allows your mind to build internal models of the language's rhythm, flow, and structure. You'll start to instinctively know that something sounds right, even if you can't recite the rule for it. This is the bedrock of natural fluency. But we can't ignore the structural integrity of grammar entirely. Instead of seeing grammar as a set of rules to memorize, view it as the load-bearing walls of your language house. It holds everything up. Our goal is to move from knowing the rule to using the rule effortlessly. The most effective way to achieve this shift is through a technique called focused repetition within context. Don't just drill verb tables. Instead, pick one grammar point you want to master, say the present perfect tense. Now, focus on finding and noticing that tense everywhere in your input. When you read a news article or listen to a podcast, actively highlight or make a mental note every time you see or hear, "I have been" or "she has gone." Then, and this is crucial, intentionally create 5 to 10 sentences about your own life using that structure every day for a week. "I have been learning English for 5 years. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. By grounding the abstract rule in your own personal reality, you forge a strong neural pathway. You're not just reciting a fact, you're using a tool to describe your life. Now, let's talk about the scariest part of the rebuild: speaking and interaction. This is often where the whole project collapses due to the fear of making a mistake. The fear of being judged is a powerful barrier, but we must understand that mistakes are not failures, they are the fertilizer for fluency. Every time you stumble, your brain gets immediate, real-world feedback on what needs refinement. To truly rebuild your speaking skills from zero, you need to lower the stakes and increase the frequency of practice. Start with yourself. Dedicate 10 minutes every day to an activity called shadowing and self-talk. Shadowing involves listening to a short segment of a native speaker from a podcast or a video and immediately trying to repeat exactly what they said, mimicking their intonation, speed, and rhythm. You are a language echo, focusing not on the meaning but on the sound and feel of the spoken word. This trains the physical muscles of your mouth and throat, preparing them for English pronunciation. Self-talk is simply narrating your day to yourself in English. I am making a cup of coffee now. I need to find my keys. I wonder what I will have for dinner. It doesn't matter if it's awkward or slow. The goal is to create an internal, low-pressure feedback loop where your brain can move from thinking in your native language to thinking and forming in English. Once you're comfortable with self-talk, you must find opportunities for real-world application. This doesn't have to be a high-pressure interview. Start small. Join an online language exchange group. Find a language partner. The most important quality in a speaking partner isn't that they are a native speaker, but that they are patient and encouraging. The goal is not perfection. The goal is communication success. A conversation where you successfully convey your idea, even with 100 errors, is a massive win. You have proven that the language works. Remember, the goal of communication is not to impress someone with your perfect grammar. It is to connect. When you focus on connection, the fear of error naturally decreases. People respond to passion and effort, not flawless conjugation. Finally, we come to the most overlooked element of the rebuild: patience and consistency. Learning a language is not a linear process. There will be plateaus where you feel like you're making no progress, and there will be sudden, unexpected breakthroughs. This is the nature of deep learning. If you've been learning for a while and feel like you're stuck, you probably aren't. You're likely experiencing a silent accumulation phase. You're still absorbing, still processing, still building those neural connections. You are gathering the resources for the next breakthrough. The worst thing you can do at this stage is stop. To ensure consistency, build a small, manageable English habit, not a massive, overwhelming commitment. It's better to spend 20 minutes every single day than 3 hours once a week. 20 minutes is sustainable. It fits into your life. It ensures that your brain keeps the language active and accessible. This might be listening to a short English news summary while you make breakfast, or writing 3 journal sentences before bed. Small wins compound into massive transformation. The English language is not a distant foreign object you must master. It is a tool, a sophisticated, beautiful tool that you are incorporating into your identity. To rebuild yourself from zero is not to erase who you are, but to give your current wonderful self a brand new, powerful voice. So, where do you start today? Don't pick up the hardest grammar book. Don't feel pressured to speak perfectly. Start by giving yourself a gift. Find 5 minutes of English content that you genuinely enjoy. A song, a short video, a funny anecdote. Just listen. Let the language wash over you. Absorb it. Love it. Your English self is not waiting to be found. It is waiting to be built. One enjoyable moment, one consistent step, one brave conversation at a time. Have confidence in the architecture you are designing. The foundation is already there, deep within your desire to connect. Keep building, keep speaking, keep exploring, and you will find that your new English self is stronger, more capable, and more articulate than you ever imagined. This is your journey. Embrace the process, and we'll be here next time, exploring the power of language together at English Story Cafe.